And we'll make a start. So as usual, we will start seated. So whether that is cross-legged or kneeling or on a chair, however's kind of most comfortable. Just coming to a place where we can find a little bit of stillness. If there's anything we need to do, just to really settle, whether that's kind of shaking out any of our energy or taking some little circles. And then maybe getting to a point where we can start to close the eyes, even if there's a little bit of movement still in us. Gradually slowing down so that we can arrive, come to our mat, come to our body, notice where we are today. Finding a bit of stillness, a bit of quiet, noticing what comes up when we give ourselves that space. If it's comfortable to do so, maybe inviting in a slightly longer inhale. And exhaling out a nice deep exhale, releasing and letting go of any tension in the body. Keeping that breath going, listening to the sound of the breath. Tuning into where you can feel the breath in the body as well. Scanning the body, noticing any sensations in the body. Might be particularly important as we move the next hour. But noticing where feels light, where feels heavy, where feels stiff. Where feels open. Noticing this, setting an intention to move kindly in our practice, especially as it's very warm, so letting the body rest when it needs to, going at our own pace. Breathing lots of love in. Exhaling it all out. One more deep breath like that together. Biggest breath we've taken all day. Lots of love in. Exhaling, letting it all go. Maybe starting to open the eyes, bringing our attention back to our surroundings. Lovely. So we're going to start with some spinal circles again. So if it's comfortable to do so, taking the feet out wide, kind of planting the feet on the floor, if that feels good and allows you to feel supported. If not, we can stay cross-legged. But we're going to aim to keep the spine nice and tall, kind of lifting the chest up to the sky. And then we're going to start to take some nice stirring movements, as if we've got a big cot between us, moving around kind of on our sitting bones. Maybe our circles start quite small and we ease our way in, just slowly, gently waking up the body. Or maybe we're stretching it out if we've had quite an active day today anyway, doing walking, wherever we've been. Just really kind of grounding through the legs, through the pelvis, moving through the spine. Coming back the other way if we haven't already. Lovely. Super. Then we're going to release those hands. We'll take them to the knees, and again, we can keep the feet here or we can cross them. But we're going to start to pull our chest through as if we're taking some cat-cows. So a couple movements to start with, just kind of flexing and extending the spine, using that support from our legs just to really find that space in the spine and the muscles of the back as well. We've been kind of moving around a lot or just been seated all day. It can be quite nice to get into those muscles as well. Really nice, bringing the chin into it, the neck. Oh, keeping the breath going. Lovely, and when you're ready, we'll come to cross the legs, but we're going to bring them into our lotus position. So full lotus if that's kind of available to us, or if we're kind of new to that practice, we're going to bring our right foot, place it on top of our left thigh. So we've got one leg kind of nicely on the other. We're going to come into a little bit of a twist. So we'll inhale, taking the arms up and overhead, really reaching for the sky. So we're reaching out of our pelvis, out of the bottom of the back. And with an exhale, we'll come to place the hands on our right thighs, turning over to the right, maybe using our fingertips just as a little bit of a leverage to bring us around that last little bit. Taking the gaze behind you, taking some nice deep breaths here. Really sitting up nice and tall, so shoulders are nice and engaged, almost rolling the shoulders down the back so we can really push it up and out of our mat. Keeping the breath going here. Feeling into that twist. A twist that allows us to find a bit of space in the body, allow us to find a bit more movement of the spine. And when we exhale nice and slowly, we'll come back to center, bringing ourselves to face the front. And we're going to swap the legs over, so taking that right foot off this time, swapping them around so we can notice kind of the change in sensations in the hips and the legs. So placing that left foot on the right thigh, and then we'll take that twist again. So we'll inhale, reaching all the way up to the sky, finding that length, that energy first. Then as we exhale, we'll come on over to the left, twisting to the side, taking the gaze behind you. Thinking nice long spine here. Oh, I'm feeling this quite nicely in my back today, kind of the muscles getting a little bit of a stretch and move, feeling into them. Lovely. And with your next exhale, we'll bring it back to center. Super. So we'll uncross the legs, we'll release that leg. If we need to give the feet a little tap up or anything, all good. And then any way you like, we're going to come over into our tabletop now, starting to kind of grow our way up. And we'll take a few breaths here, just as we usually do. Again, feeling into the back of the body, feeling into the spine. So that might look like taking some cat-cows. So dropping the belly through, engaging the glutes, sending the chest nice and proud forward. And then really pushing away from our mat, so finding a bit of integrity, finding a bit of energy from the earth, really clawing through the fingers. Or it may look slightly different, so maybe we're dipping the hips from side to side. You may want to take the toes back to give yourself a little bit of a calf stretch, that can be nice. Even kind of walking the toes to the other side of the mat, maybe looking over towards that back foot, getting a little bit of a crescent moon shape. Whatever movement feels kind of intuitive and nice here, whatever's going to allow you to find a little bit of space in the front body and the back body. Lovely, moving with the breath, moving nice and intentionally. Lovely. And when you're ready, we're going to come back to our tabletop. So coming back to our kind of neutral spine. So keeping the kind of maintaining its natural curves. And then we're going to come into a little bit of a side plank variation. So from here, we're going to lift the right foot up, kind of kickstand it 90 degrees off the long edge of the mat. Then as we do so, I'm going to bring my left foot in line with that knee. And then start to reach up with my left hand, spreading my right fingers nice and wide, getting that opening in the side body. Super, really nice, Alex. So pushing away here, really reaching through the fingertips, finding some stillness for a moment. Feeling that kind of length of the body, the length of the arms. If we want to bring a little bit of movement into the shoulder, we're going to start to drop those fingertips towards our head, so towards the short edge of the mat, and then taking a nice big circle, we'll bring it all the way around, so kind of full range of motion of your shoulder, whatever that looks like. But nice and slowly, nice and controlled, so we're not kind of dumping our shoulder or dumping the arm. And next time we're at the top, we'll bring that arm the other way, so taking those circles on the other side. Lovely. Super. And the next time the arm comes up to the top of the mat, so fingers are reaching towards the sky, we're going to push into our shin, push into that back foot, come to raise the upper body up into our gate pose, or our kind of warrior two variation. So we're lifting our arms off the floor. Sorry, I know we're facing the other way. Super, that's it. Great. So reaching through the arms, finding that opening in the chest, pushing through that extended foot, so we're nice and strong and supported. Nice big breaths in the belly, opening through the body. Super. Holding it here. And with the exhale, I'm going to come to bring my left fingers down towards that leg, reaching the right fingertips up, getting a bit of a stretch in the side body here. You can release those fingers kind of onto the calf, onto the thigh, maybe down towards the earth if we have the space to do so. So long as we're kind of reaching up and out of that armpit, pushing down through that shin, so we're getting lots of nice length in that side of the body. Maybe as we exhale, we see if we can come a little bit deeper down that leg, so kind of walking the fingertips down a bit further, really kind of pushing into that rib cage so that we're nice and supported. We don't want to be kind of cranking in the lower back. Maybe you notice the skin on the front of the body kind of stretch. Lovely. Then with your next exhale, we'll cartwheel those arms back over. So coming to place both hands on the floor, bringing the legs back into your tabletop position, dipping the hips a little bit from side to side, just to release some of that tension. Lovely. So we're going to take that on the other side. So this time we're going to just turn around and confuse myself, but I think we're going to send the left knee off the mat this time, so sending it off the long edge, taking the right foot back to set up for our half side plank, and then opening through the fingers. So really bringing those fingertips kind of across the chest, across the body. So we're opening through the chest here. We'll keep pushing down through that extended foot, taking the gaze maybe up towards the fingertips to find a little bit of focus, a little bit of length. Super. And again, nice strong movement here, using the breath to fuel the movement. We're going to push down into the shins, push down into that extended foot, and then come to reach through those top fingertips, bringing us up to our gate pose. So kind of a warrior two variation. We can send the gaze out in front and really focusing on shining that heart space forward, or maybe we take the gaze over the fingertips just as we do in warrior two. So whichever option allows you to find a bit of stillness in the mind. Oh, might be starting to feel this a little bit in the arms and the shoulders. As we exhale, really kind of pushing down into the earth, into the mat, so finding that kind of energy in the arms. You don't want the arms to be passive. Lovely. As we exhale, we'll bring those fingertips back down to the mat. So we're coming back to our side plank. And I realized we forgot to do our nice shoulder rotation. So we're going to take that on this side. We'll inhale, come to drop the fingertips down towards the mat. Full circle all the way around, reaching them up. Really making the most of that range of motion. Nice big movement as we stretch into that shoulder. Might be feeling a little bit of a stretch down the side body too. Super. Coming back the other way if we haven't already. Lovely. Super. And then coming to rest those fingertips on the floor. Then we're going to bring ourselves back to our tabletop, taking any dips through the hips. If we'd like to, maybe taking the gaze behind just to really get that curve in the rib cage and the spine. Super. And now when you're ready, we're going to come to our low lunge position, Anjaneyasana. So I'm going to encourage you to spread your fingertips nice and wide. And then we're going to bring our left foot and step it through our hands. So I like to find a little bit of space behind me before I bring it through. Lovely. Just to really rest that foot, maybe we start to slowly ease ourselves into bending that knee. Just to check that it's nice and comfortable, nice and supported above the ankle. Before we nice and light on the fingertips, start to reach up towards the sky, pushing through our shins and feet again, so really powering through the legs, finding our low lunge here. And we're keeping it nice and stacked to start with, so stood up nice and tall, really building it from the ground up. Lovely. From here, we're going to bring the fingers together, so interlacing the fingers, but leaving the index finger pointing upwards, a little steeple. Yeah, perfect. And then we're going to find a little bit of movement in the shoulders, so whatever feels nice here, just kind of moving that grip around, but really feeling that movement come from the shoulders. Maybe sending that grip forward slightly, bringing it around in a nice big circle. Seeing if you can control your balance here, not super easy when we're trying to stay stacked and upright. Super. Maybe we start to bend a little bit more into that front knee, getting a bit of a stretch through the back hip. Send those fingertips behind us, gaze up to the sky, slight back bend in this lunge. Lovely. Pushing through the foot. Making sure we've got any padding under our knees if that will feel nicer. Lovely. And with your next exhale, we'll come to wiggle those fingertips down. We're going to wrap them around that foot and then step that foot back into our tabletop. Nice. Super. We're going to take it onto the other side. So when you're ready, we're going to step the right foot through. So again, you might want to kind of take the toes up behind you just to find a little bit of space in the hips. Before we bring that knee in, step it in front and start to find our low lunge on this side. So again, easing nicely into it. Whew, finding a little bit of movement. Finding a nice comfortable positioning for the knee and the ankle. Before with an inhale, we come up off our fingertips, sending the arms up to the sky, Anjaneyasana. Lovely. Great. Pushing through that foot. Lifting up out of the rib cage, really engaging our core, our center here to help us keep that balance. Taking a couple deep breaths here. And then again, we're going to come to interlace the fingers, keeping that steeple finger facing up, so a little mudra here. Pointing that energy towards the sky. And again, we're going to find a little bit of space in our shoulders whilst maintaining that balance with the floor through our legs. So opening up here. I'm finding it much trickier on this side. Inviting in a little bit of movement. Using that steeple to draw a little energy in. Lovely. Bringing our hands up above the head, nice and neutral, starting to lean slightly more into that lunge if it's comfortable to do so, getting that stretch of the hip flexor, taking those fingertips behind us, finding a gentle back bend here. I don't know why I used the word gentle, this is quite a strong back bend, but not going too far. Keep the breath going, nice strong core, nice strong center. Might be feeling it in the legs and the hip. Lovely. When you're ready, we'll come to bring the hips back in line, bringing the knees in line with the ankles. We'll release the fingertips down to the ground. Bring that front knee back behind us. Lovely. Coming off the legs. Super. And then we're going to make our way down to the mat. So we're going to come for a little chaturanga, but we can stay on our knees. So spreading the fingertips, bringing the chest forward, nice and controlled, lowering ourselves to the mat. Super. Releasing, letting go onto the floor, spreading the fingertips with an exhale, pushing up into your baby cobra. Lovely. So really engaging the center here. Nice strong core, grounding down through the pelvis. Remembering to keep breathing. Being careful not to plug all our weight into our hands. With an exhale, we'll release the head back down to the earth. Catching a wave, next inhale in, will come up to your baby cobra or your full cobra. Really imagining somebody picking you up from the back of your neck, almost like a cat or a puppy. So finding that length in the neck, length in the spine, grounding down through the legs. Keeping that breath going. Opening through the heart space. With an exhale, we'll come to drop the chest back down, nice and controlled, so keeping the elbows pinned in. Then we're going to come to crocodile just for a moment. So we're bringing the elbows out to the corners of the mat. Hands are resting in front of us. And we can either rest the forehead on the back of our palms, or maybe one potato, two potato, make a little pillow for the head. Once you're here, we'll bring the ankles in, send the toes out to get a little rotation of the hips. And then just come to take a few breaths here. I always find this one quite nice when it's a bit warmer. Just to really release in the body, allow the body to rest on the earth, to surrender here. Knowing there's nowhere we need to go, there's nothing in particular we need to do. Just being here, being present. Lovely. So when we're ready here, we're going to come to release the hands now, to bring ourselves back down to the mat. And we are going to come towards standing. So quite a long way to go. So coming up however you like, I'm going to suggest that we come up to our tabletop, nice strong core. And then maybe from here, we take a really nice slow vinyasa. So coming up to our downward dog. Maybe you want to take a moment to pedal out through the legs here, find a bit of space in the hamstrings, find a bit of length in the spine. Checking in with your breath. Maybe we want to hold this here for a moment, taking the gaze to your toes behind you. Pushing through your hands, so lots of energy, sinking the belly back. Lovely. And then when you're ready, we'll take a nice slow walk up to the front of the mat. Really seeing if we can feel into all of the muscles in the legs and the hips. Really kind of soften and warm them up. Ooh, coming to our Uttanasana, forward fold. And then releasing the front body here. So feet are pushing away from your mat into the earth. You might almost get that sensation that you're kind of clawing through the toes and through the heels. So maybe the arches are slightly lifted. Elevating the hips up towards the sky. Relaxing the front body. Lovely, yeah. Arms are nice and soft, neck is nice and soft. Then from here, we're going to come to interlace the fingers, rest them gently on the head. Bring the elbows in towards the ears. Just allow your head, your neck, everything to kind of relax with the weight of your arms. Just allowing gravity to let everything fall down towards the earth. And then nice slow movement. We'll release those hands, start to push up towards our mountain pose, towards Tadasana. Rolling the shoulders back, allowing the palms to face forward, noticing what it feels like to arrive in your body. Taking a moment to be still here. Lovely. So we're going to do a little bit more work in the shoulders just before we move through some sun salutations. So from here, we're going to inhale, lift the arms and hands all the way up towards the sky, finding that steeple mudra again. So I appreciate half of me is being cut off. So finding that above, hands above the head, lovely. With an exhale, we'll start to curve over towards the right. Nice, finding that length in the side body. Pushing through the feet, reaching through the fingers. So nice long side body here, nice long rib cage, really opening up the spaces between the ribs. Keeping the core nice and engaged, so nice and supported. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, taking it onto the other side. Really pushing out with the fingers, so not kind of yanking ourselves over, just finding our kind of natural range of motion. Lovely, and coming back to center. For this, I like to step my fingers together, but we're going to do similar to what we were doing earlier, just finding a bit of space in the shoulders here. So whether that's taking some nice circles, bringing the arms kind of forward and back, but nice and gently, nice and softly. But really engaging our center, engaging our core, just so that our back and our spine can feel that little bit more supported, a bit more confident. Super. Oh, I already knocked myself over there. Lovely. Super. And then when you're ready, we'll come to release the arms for a moment, give them a little bit of a shake off. They've been quite active this evening. Super. And then as we are approaching the longest day of the year, we're going to work through some sun salutations. I definitely encourage you to keep it nice and soft, not too fast, kind of really focus on holding the movement, especially while it's very, very warm. So as always, just being nice and kind with ourselves, nice and soft in the body. So always, you know, lots of bent knees, all that kind of stuff. It's just going to be that little bit kinder. But when you're ready, we'll come to the front of the mat. We're going to take a slightly different variation, but it is the same one that we did on Monday. Sorry, I've got some ants on my mat. I'm just kicking out the way, which is not very yogi. We'll start to push through the feet, hands shine forward, inviting in all that lovely energy. And then when you're ready, with an exhale, we'll come to sink the hips back, send the arms forward, find our chair pose, Utkatasana. And we can have the feet together or hips distance apart for this. Exhale, forward fold, pushing off the feet, sending the hips up. Lovely, Alex, nice. Inhale, find your halfway lift, flatten through the back, lovely. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, spread the fingertips, step or jump back to your plank, lowering through the hips, nice strong core. Super. Exhale, we're going to come forward, come to our up dog, so nice controlled lowering of the hips, nice and strong in the legs. With your next breath, sending the hips back, downward dog. Lovely, elevating hips up to the sky, pausing here for a few breaths. Finding a little bit of stillness. When you're ready, we'll inhale, send the right heel up towards the sky. Exhale, bending through the knees, stepping that foot forward. We're going to drop the back heel, coming up to our warrior one pose, bending through that front knee, lovely. Holding it here, nice and strong, nice and tall. Exhale, we'll come to wrap the hands around the foot. Step back to our plank. Then we're going to lower through to our up dog or our cobra again, whichever one feels a bit nicer for us today. Exhale, hips come back to our downward dog. And then we're going to take that warrior one on the other side, so lifting through that left heel, Bending through the knee, nice strong core as we step that foot forward. Dropping the back heel, lifting up towards your warrior one. Pausing here for a beat, lovely. Really dropping the shoulders as we exhale. Might be starting to feel a little bit warm, a little bit sweaty. Super. We'll exhale, bring the fingers to wrap back around that foot. Send that foot back to find your plank. Lowering yourself with control, bringing yourself to your back bend, up dog or cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes under, send the hips back to your downward dog. And then inhale, step, float or jump to the top of the mat. Or take a nice slow walk like I'm doing. And then pushing through your feet. We're gonna come all the way up to roll the shoulders back. So we're going to go through that 2 more times. I'm going to try and get us to move a little bit more in line with the breath. I don't want to say quicker, but try to get us more towards one breath, one movement. If we are warm, if we're feeling a bit tired, then knowing that we can go at our own pace. We know where we're going next, so no need to follow along at my speed. So when we're ready, we'll inhale, find that chair pose, dropping the hips back, sending the arms out in front, finding that strength here, really bringing everything in together. Exhale, forward fold. Lovely. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step or jump back to plank. Exhale, come down to your up dog or your cobra. Inhale, send the hips back down with dog. Exhale, right heel comes up to the sky. Inhale, step that foot through your hands. Exhale, warrior one. Lovely, really nice, Alex. Inhale, bringing the hands back down. Exhale, step back to your plank. Inhale, drop the hips, find your back bend. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left heel comes up behind you. Exhale, stepping it through to your warrior one. Inhale, reaching the arms up towards the sky. Lovely, warrior one here. Exhale, bringing the hands back down. Inhale, stepping back to your plank. Exhale, dropping the hips down, up dog or cobra. Lovely. Exhale, send the hips back downward dog. We'll take 3 breaths here. Sinking the belly back to the thighs, sending the hips up nice and tall, pushing through the hands. Remembering to keep breathing, keep smiling. Lovely, and then we're going to step, jump, walk or float to the top of the mat. Super, pushing our way up. Nice and slowly to Tadasana. Pausing here for a moment. Maybe sending some awareness to our feet, checking in with how the feet are doing. And then making a decision for that final chair. Do we want to go with feet together or hips distance apart? So making that decision now. So we can catch a wave. Inhale, we'll drop the hips, send the arms up. Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Straightening through the legs, lovely. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step or jump back to your plank. Inhale, coming through to your back bend, cobra or up dog. Exhale, send the hips back, downward dog. Inhale, lifting your right heel towards the sky. Exhale, stepping that foot through. We'll plant the foot back with your inhale. Reach up to your warrior one. Use that fuel to find that lift. Lovely. Exhale, wrapping the hands around the foot. Inhale, step back to plank. Lovely, Alex. Really nice. Inhaling, dropping the hips. Find your back bend. We're nearly there. Exhale, tuck the toes under, send the hips back, downward dog. Inhale, we're going to lift through the left heel. Exhale, bending through the knee, dropping the hand. dropping the foot between the hands, and then coming up to your warrior one, rising up, dropping that back heel, lovely. Exhale, wiggle the fingertips down. Inhale, stepping back to your plank, we're almost there. Chaturanga through to your cobra or up dog. Exhale, sending the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Pausing here for a few breaths. Super, checking in with the body. That was quite a lot of movement. What's happened to our breath? What's coming up in the mind? And just noticing, not kind of allowing ourselves to be sucked into kind of frustration or any negative thoughts like that. Lovely. And one final strong pose before we take a little rest. We're going to come through to our crow pose, so stepping the feet forward. I know we did super well earlier in the week, so seeing how we get on today when it's a little bit warmer, a little bit later in the week. Bringing the toes together, so nice kind of bouncy toes. Knees are opening out nice and wide towards the side of the mat. And then we're going to spread our fingertips nice and wide, really pushing against our mat. Taking the gaze in front of us as if we're looking kind of into a puddle or a pond. And then when using your breath, we'll push away from our mat, bring the knees up towards the arms. Maybe we find a little bit of lift off. Maybe we don't, it's all good. It's a different day, lovely. Keeping that gaze in front, we tend to move to where the gaze is. But just feeling that rocking sensation and practicing that, even if we're not lifting off today. But just practicing taking kind of that weight, taking that shape, finding that kind of momentum. Lovely. And then when you're ready, we're going to come to lower the knees and find a little rest in child or puppy's pose, taking the knees wide, sending the hips. We'll come to lower the forehead to the mat. Lovely work. Allowing the body to rest and surrender here. Reminding ourselves that without the rest, we can't rise. So it's important to plan these moments in. These moments to just pause, breathe, allowing the body to respond and adjust to the movement that we've done. Feel the muscles as they kind of adjust. Noticing any kind of vibrations or sensations. And traditionally, these asana were to kind of prepare the body for meditation. So the reason we move through these movements and these shapes is to allow the body and the mind to then find stillness to meditate. So seeing if you feel that change here. Lovely. So we're going to sink into this for a couple more breaths, knowing there's no rush. Noticing if we're really keen to edge into the next thing. When you're ready, we'll push into those hands, nice strong back as we bring ourselves towards tabletop, lovely. And we are going to come back to standing, so maybe tucking the toes under, sending the hips back, downward dog, and then walking, stepping or jumping to the top of the mat. To allow ourselves to push up from the earth, rolling all the way up. Rolling the shoulders back, lovely. Super. So we're going to hold some movements a little bit longer now before we come to some hopefully nice yummy stretches before our relaxation. So we're going to slow things down a little bit. So from here, connecting to our feet, feet nice and hips distance apart, we're going to set up for our warrior one again. So with your exhale, we'll send that right leg back behind us, finding a bit of space, allowing that heel to drop, finding our warrior one legs. Lovely. And when we're feeling good, strong in the legs, we'll start to lift through those hands, reaching up to the sky, nice big beach ball overhead, creating lots of space in the front body. With the exhale, we're going to come and twist over in front of that knee. So opening the arms out. And it's okay if we're not kind of one long straight line. Obviously, there's only so much room our spine and shoulders will allow. So we're just playing around with that opening here. Pushing off that back foot. We'll inhale, drop that back arm, bring it up in front of us for our warrior one. With your exhale, open out to your warrior two. Lovely. Super nice and open in the chest, bending into that front knee. Taking the gaze over the fingertips so we can find that focus. Holding it here. Find that kind of familiarity in the shape to allow us to find a bit of steadiness, a bit of ease. With your next inhale, we'll reach those front fingertips forward, bring them all the way back for your peaceful warrior. Just going to come have a little peek, lovely. Walking those fingertips down the back leg, just as we did at the beginning. Breathing into the legs, breathing into anywhere where there might be some discomfort. As we exhale, we'll bring those arms back in front, so back to our warrior one. Lovely. We're going to come to bring that back toes in, so coming out of our warrior one, legs more to our high lunge, great. So really kind of finding a bit of buoyancy in that back heel as we kind of ground down. And then we'll bring the palms together, bring them down to the chest, Anjali Mudra. With an exhale, we're going to come to rest the right elbow towards the left knee. Sending left elbow up towards the sky, finding our rotation here, finding a twist. Keep grounding through that back foot. Lovely. Taking the gaze over that back elbow. Holding it here, reminding ourselves we're strong, we've got this. Finding stillness, finding some quiet. When you're ready, we'll push up those feet, bringing ourselves back to face towards the front of the mat. And then nice jump, we're going to step that back foot in. Lovely, give those legs a good shake off, well done. Super, taking a moment, shaking through the legs, maybe shaking through the arms as well. Taking a bit of knocking on heaven's door. Oh, maybe that creates a nice bit of breeze for you. Definitely is for me, that's nice. Whew. Take those movements on the other side. Accepting it might feel different on this side, that's all good. We may have to go about it differently. So coming to the front of your mat again, as always, grounding through the feet, inviting that lovely energy in so we can stand up nice and tall. And then this time when you're ready, we're going to step the left foot back, dropping that heel to find our warrior one legs, lovely. And then reaching those arms up and over to find our nice big beach ball overhead, lovely. Big beach ball, maybe it's Simba. Sometimes that keeps my fingers a bit more active when I'm thinking of Simba. Holding it here. With an exhale, we'll come to push the fingers out over that left knee. So really reaching out, finding a bit of a twist. Noticing if there's any discomfort. Holding, being comfortable with that discomfort. Challenging ourselves to stay here. Next, inhale in, we'll reach the fingers up to the sky. As we exhale, opening out to our warrior two. Taking the gaze over the front fingers. Pushing down into the earth, so nice active arms, we don't want them passive. And next inhale with control, we'll reach through those front fingers, bring them back, come to our peaceful warrior, nice and soft here. Maybe taking the gaze up to the fingertips. Nice stretch in the biceps. And when you're ready, we'll bring those arms back up in front of us again, so back to our warrior one. And then swizzle around on that back foot, nice technical term, finding that lunge. And then from here, we're going to bring the palms together, bring them to the chest reach, drawing that energy in nice and strong in our center line. And then with an exhale, we'll come to place that elbow on the outside of the right knee, finding our revolved lunge here. Keep pushing back with that back heel. I'm just going to come out so that I can see you as I can't on this side. Lovely, really good. So really kind of keeping that lift in the belly. Don't be crashing into that knee, nice and strong. Taking one more full breath cycle here. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, we'll come to reach up through those fingertips, pushing through the feet. With an exhale, we're going to wiggle the fingertips around to wrap around that front foot. And we're going to come towards our pigeon. So nice and slow. We're going to start to walk that left foot, that right foot even, sorry, over towards the left hand. And then come to drop that knee parallel behind the right hand. Lovely, look like you've got it. And then wiggle that foot back just to come into our pigeon pose. So that foot and that shin, it can be kind of parallel with the front edge of your mat, or it can be more in an angle with that foot kind of coming to tuck into your hip. That's all good too. And when we're here, really pushing up and away from the mat, so finding a little bit of space for the hip as we allow it to sink and ground down. Ooh, nice little stretch here. Hopefully finding a bit of space in the outer hip. We can get nice and comfortable here, or we may want to come to rest on the elbows, bringing the forehead down, folding into the pigeon. Lovely. So we're going to hold it here for a good minute. So if there's any movements that you want to make, any adjustments just to make it nice and comfy, whether that's bringing the foot in slightly, taking the elbows a bit wider. Doing that now, we can find a bit of quiet here. Sending our breath to anywhere of discomfort. Be listening to the lovely bird song. I don't know if it's my end or yours, but it's lovely nonetheless. So enjoying the bird song as we relax in our pigeon. When you're ready, we'll come to release the hands, pushing ourselves back up. Well, that's a lovely little moment there, the bird song. I didn't really want to come up, but we best do. And from here, I'm going to bring my right hand more into my center, just so I can feel nice and supported and balanced. And when I've done that, I'm going to come to lift through that left knee, bringing the toes up towards the sky. And maybe you want to take a nice big breath stroke, swimming the fingertips back towards that foot. Lovely, you've got it. Great. So we can hold on to the toes, we can hold on to the back of the feet. But just gently using the hand to pull that leg in, getting a little bit of a stretch on the quad. Push it into the hands, we're staying up nice and tall. And when you're ready, we'll come to release that foot back down. Lovely, using our hands to support us. I'm going to take this pigeon onto the other side. So lifting through the hips, we'll take that foot back, or maybe taking some hip dips, just as we were doing at the beginning. And this time we're going to trace a line up with that opposite leg. So when we're ready, we'll start to bring that left knee up towards the right wrist. Opening out as far as comfortable, bringing the right foot around towards the right hand, but by no means does it need to be at the right hand. And then we'll start to use the toes to lower ourselves back down on that back foot. And taking a moment to really push away from your mat here so you can feel nice and strong in the hips. It can even be nice just to really come off the fingertips for a moment so we know we've got that nice strength and stability. We know we can trust our hips, trust ourselves. And then bring the fingertips back down nice and lightly. So they are there to support, but they're not kind of holding all our weight. We've still got that integrity. Whew. So taking some breaths here, allowing that space for the belly to breathe nice and freely. And then when you're ready, if you'd like to, of course, it's always just an option. We can bring the elbows down, bring the palms together and come to relax, release the forehead over our pigeon. Again, we'll find some stillness and quiet here. And then we're ready. We'll come to push into those forearms. So again, using our hands to bring us back up. Seeing if we can find that king pigeon version on the other side. So walking the left hand in this time, really pushing into the mat. And then we'll start to nice and gently bring that back foot up. Pressing that foot into the hand, finding a bit of lift, finding a nice stretch in the quad. Finding a bit of space, a bit of flexibility in the back. Drawing the belly button in. Lovely. And from there, we're going to release that foot, bringing the hands back down. I'm going to come to release into that left hip. So allowing that left hip to come down. I'm going to bring that right leg all the way up and over. Coming to find that cow's leg shape, Gomukhasana. Super, holding onto the feet. I just pronounced that really badly. I need to practice that one. Then inhaling, lifting through the chest, lovely, finding lots of space. Whew, keeping the breath going. Sinking the shoulders down. And that pigeon, I had the lovely bird song and a recorder, so that was nice, added a folky element. Nice. From here, I'm going to uncross that top leg. So I'm going to bring the right leg out, send the left leg nice and long as I bring that right foot into the left thigh. I'm going to take a gentle Janu Sirsasana, head to knee pose. So I'm going to keep a little bit of a bend in the knee and then just use my fingertips to lower myself down towards that knee, keeping a nice flat spine, lovely. Lowering the chest down, maybe we get there today, maybe we don't. Folding over here. Really sending the sitting bones back towards the back of your mat. Breathing into the hamstrings, breathing into the back of the leg. And then we'll push up off the hands, coming to bring that left leg over the top of the right leg this time. So finding our cow's leg on the other side, again, sitting up nice and tall. Grounding through the pelvis, finding the length in the spine. And then this time we're going to lift the left leg off momentarily, just as we extend through the right leg. And then bring that left foot in, taking our Janu Sirsasana on this side. So really turning our rib cage towards those toes, towards the front legs, sitting up nice and tall before we start our slow walk down to our Janu Sirsasana. Bringing the nose towards the knee, but it's all about that kind of energetic intention, whether it gets there or not too important. Noticing if it feels any different on this side. Keeping a nice generous bend in the knee. And then when we're ready, we'll use those fingertips to walk ourselves back up. Before we take both legs long, and we're going to nice and gently come down to our Shavasana. So grabbing anything to make it cozy here, maybe an eye pillow, maybe something behind the head. I would often suggest layers, but I'm not convinced today is the day for layers, but you will drop to a little bit colder. When you're ready, really feeling your spine as it kind of imprints the mat. It might even be quite nice just to lift your hips for a moment, really intentionally place the spine down, really feeling into every part of the back before we send the legs and the arms out nice and long. So feeling that connection with the mat and recognizing how the earth is supporting you below the mat. Feeling held and supported here. Noticing any sensations of anywhere where your body is in contact with the mat. Allowing the body to feel nice and heavy as we ground into the earth. Maybe noticing, just as we did at the beginning, if there's anywhere that feels light. So anywhere that feels stiff. Anywhere that feels nice and open. Feeling the breath in the body here. Feeling the effects of our yoga practice integrate in our final Shavasana. So what did we learn about the body? What did we learn about our minds? That here. Unless we're staying here a bit longer, which I'd encourage you to do if you can. You might start to wiggle through the toes here. Still keeping the eyes closed for a moment, still enjoying this little kind of cave of self-awareness and presence we've built, but maybe starting to wiggle the toes, bringing a bit of energy in. Maybe that turns into kind of rotating through the ankles, or even just kind of windshield wiping the feet in and out, allowing the legs to move. And maybe we extend that to other places in the body, whatever feels right in terms of us waking up and bringing a bit of energy and awareness back to our surroundings. Maybe taking a nice big stretch overhead, nice big yawn. And then in your own time, whenever you're ready, we'll slowly come towards seated, whether that is rolling ourselves up or taking a nice slow roll over to the side, pausing for a moment in this fetal position, and then pushing our way back up. Really rising from the base of our spine. Lovely, coming to end our practice together. Bring hands into the chest, closing your eyes, setting an intention for the rest of our evening, the rest of our week. Considering what do we want to carry from our practice off of the mat? What's going to help us? What's going to support us? What's going to help us learn? So thank you very, very much for practicing with me this evening. The light in me bows to the light in you. Have a lovely evening, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
It was nice. I know it's always very tempting to go out in the sun and enjoy the evening. So very committed yogi.
No, I did core with Raf on Monday? No, Tuesday. So like the back bends today were much needed because I was like, yeah.
Nice. Nice of that balance.
Yeah. I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening in the sun or whatever you're doing.
Super. Lovely to see you, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.